Okay, people, let's talk about real stuff. Let's talk about weight loss surgery and let's talk about having two weight loss surgeries. The second one when you're over 50. That's exactly what I did. I did my first surgery in 2009. It was a lap band. If you're not super familiar with that, I'll drop a link down below where you can look it up. Lap band surgery was not successful for me. And the majority of the reason why was because I had not done any work. I went into it thinking it's a tool, right? That's what I was told. So tools do all the work. So I figured I would get the band, I would get skinny, and then life would be great in that order. And my expectation was that it would happen within a year's time. I had about 150 pounds to lose and thought, yeah, not a problem. This will work. No worries. Please, people. I was so not prepared. I didn't do any emotional work. I didn't even start exercising. I didn't do jack shit. I just went in with the thought that I'm going to get this band and it's going to fix everything about me. And it did not go that way. To say that I was not successful with my lap band surgery would be an understatement. I actually created more issues for myself because I now thought even less of myself because it was, oh my gosh. Number one, I allowed myself to get fat. Number two, had a surgery that was supposed to make me skinny and it didn't. I even failed at that. That is what we tell ourselves when we are not mentally well. That's, that's the root cause of it. And does it suck? Yeah, totally. Did I beat myself up for years? Yes. Yes, I did. I didn't have my second surgery until about 12 years after that. Actually, a little bit longer. And in that time, I had a lot of growth. I started letting negative people go from my life. At 50, I got a divorce. And after that, my weight started dropping. It was interesting that when I started letting negative people go, my weight also started dropping. Then there were other things that happened. And then my weight started creeping back up. And folks, we're not going to talk numbers here. The numbers aren't the journey, it's part of the journey. And we have to do the numbers to so that the doctors have something to measure. I get it. The numbers are important, but they are not the journey and they are not the most important thing. The most important thing is how we feel about ourselves. Okay. I felt after I did all of this, it's like I am on top of the world. I'm getting my shit together. It is now time for my second surgery. I had counseling for about a year and a half. And man, that was rough. I was the type of person who grew up where I was told counseling was for babies. Suck it up, buttercup, rub some dirt on it, move on. My dealing with things, which I truly thought I was dealing with things, was creating these little boxes that I would put those problems in, lock those boxes up, and I had a little space where I would keep those boxes all in my head. So first counselor was like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do some EMDR. That's E, M as in Mary, D as in dog, R. That was rough, folks. I would look into it. It was incredibly helpful. But holy shnikes, if you are not ready for it, it will kick your ass and it will open up a lot of stuff if you are not ready to handle that. It's it's rough. It is really rough. but it was the best thing that I ever did. So that was me dealing with things, putting them in these nice tiny little boxes and stashing them away and not opening them up ever again. My therapist and I argued for about 2 weeks over whether that was dealing with something or not. He's like, that is tucking away. He's like, yes, but that is a way to deal. And he goes, okay. So he had to use different language with me. Um, so anyway, so those will be different stories. My poor therapist. He was a trooper. I was not. I don't think I was an easy person, um, but we got through it, and I am a far better person for it. So if you've ever thought that therapy is for sissies or therapy is not important, oh my gosh, check yourself. Go find yourself a therapist for the love of Pete. Now, I went through three. Again, I'm not an easy. I wasn't an easy person. My first therapist said, "You've got PTSD." I said, "No, I don't." And I fired him and I went to a second therapist. We did some talking and she goes, "You have PTSD." And I did not share that diagnosis with her. And I go, "No, I don't." Went to my third therapist, who he and I clicked after a couple of visits, because you do have to give it a couple of times. You've got to be able to connect with your therapist. Because I knew what therapists wanted to hear. If you tell them what they want to hear, oftentimes they'll just they'll say like, okay, great, go forth into your life. You're doing great. You have to do the work. By my third therapist, I did not share the PTSD diagnosis, and we did some chatting. And I said, "What do you got as a diagnosis?" One of those diagnoses was PTSD. I said, "I don't think so. Thank you for playing along. Can we just remove that from my chart?" So that was another discussion. Um, he did not remove it from my chart, but I did gain a whole lot of respect for him. And we had some really tough times and really good times. I am a far better person, like I said, because of therapy. So do yourself a favor, do the people around you a favor, and get your ass to therapy. I know it's me being bossy, but it really is. It was so incredibly helpful. And that is by far the biggest reason why I have been successful at weight loss and my weight loss surgery. So, things that went wrong with my first surgery, the list is too long. I had physical issues, I had mental issues, I had not changed my relationship with food. People, I don't know if you understand. If you've not had your surgery yet, then you might not understand that you have a relationship with food. You could be addicted to foods. You can be addicted to sugar. If you are not prepared to deal with that, you will have withdrawal, and it is a physical issue and it is a mental issue. I was a basket case. I went from being super happy to super mad. That was it. Really happy because I saw some numbers drop. Emotionally, though, the rest of the time, I was a nightmare. I would cry. I was angry. Cry, angry, jump on the scale, pretty happy when I saw numbers drop. Then they didn't drop as quickly as I wanted. And then I became a basket case again. And then I was super hard on myself as like I'm failing and I knew I was going to fail. So I actually went to the doctor, had them take all the fluid out of my lap band, and we were going to start over. And I just never went back. I didn't want to deal with it. I felt humiliated. I felt ashamed of myself. I felt like I had wasted everybody's time, and I just didn't want to do it again. That's where I was. And that was in 2010, 2011. So it was a couple of years afterwards. I was just back to my regular self, just wandering around with a lap band. So I've had 3 surgeries, truthfully: the lap band, the removal of the lap band, And then a few years later, I had the um, the gastric bypass, which has been an amazing story for me, a huge success for me. I had to do a lot of work beforehand, though. I let a lot of negative people out of my life, or a lot of people that didn't serve me, um, as well as some people dropped me as well because I became a different person. So I no longer served them. And I actually have a friend who we do a podcast together, and it's called Real Talk After 50. I'll put the link below. Holy moly, folks, you're going to love her. She is freaking hilarious. And she does try to rein me in a lot. I have ADHD. It has been a struggle just to talk straight to this camera. You have no idea. There are so many tangents that I want to go off on, but I've been told that that's not the best thing. So, what people did not tell me when I had my surgery, they did not tell me that you would be an emotional wreck. They did not tell me that your relationship with food is going to change. Um, they did not tell me that you were going to have to work your ass off. You would think that those were things I would have figured out on my own, but why would I have? And that's what I had to finally be okay with, was the fact that I was just in a place where I could not see that. So those were the things that I weren't told, that I wasn't told. However, was it a success? Um, in a sense, it absolutely was. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the relationships around me, to be very honest. Um, I learned what doesn't work. And that is half the battle there. So when I had my other surgery, I knew what I needed to do because I failed on the first one. So was it truly a failure? Hmm, I don't know that it was a failure so much as it just wasn't as successful as what I had hoped. Did I gain weight? I did gain a little bit of weight back. Um, I only lost, with my lap band surgery, I had lost about 50 pounds. So I was lighter physically. Emotionally, though, I was so much heavier. I was a nightmare. There's no other way to put it. I was a nightmare, and I was the hardest person. I was the hardest on myself than anybody else was. A total nightmare. So would I do it again? Probably. I would do it again because I learned what I needed to learn in order to be successful this other time. So, if you want to be in this community, which I would love, this is what I this is what I'm hoping for, folks, to be very honest. I'm hoping to create a community of support and tough love. I am not a coddler. I can be empathetic, but I'm not going to crawl in there with you and cry for days on end. We don't have time for that. If you're over 50, come on now. We don't have time for that. This is tough love, baby. This is, yes, this is hard. Now you've got to do the work. Now you have to do the work. I will go with you every step of the way. I will be here. I will support you. But you have to be the driver. You have to be able also to reach out and go, I am struggling. This sucks. And be like, I got you. And you're going to have a group of folks that say, we get it. We've been there. It sucks. This is so hard. What are you going to do to move forward? Because we don't want to live in that. We want to get to the other side, right? We want to be successful. And by watching this and by joining the community, that's a step in the right direction. It's a step in saying, I'm choosing me first. I want to put myself out there. This is me putting myself out there onto Videoland. And even if just one person watches, I'm okay with that because I'm doing this for me and I'm wanting to share my experience and hoping that others can learn from what went wrong, but also learn from me with what went right. and let's just support each other. We'll give each other crap as well. I am such a sarcastic wench. I am trying to be so nice. I have the mouth of a sailor. Um, so I've been trying to cut back on that. Uh, just be prepared, folks. Next video, I'm probably going to be swearing like a sailor. It just is what it is. Um, and you can watch me swear. I'll link a couple of videos down there where I was so excited about my first podcast. I dropped a swear word within like the first 4 seconds. I thought my friend was going to just die of embarrassment. But that's who I am. And if you want to come along with me and continue this journey, no matter where you're at, if you're thinking about surgery, what do you got to lose? Truthfully, if you're watching and if you join the community, what have you got to lose? If you've already had your surgery, fantastic. Congratulations. Let's kick ass together. There's nothing more fun than a group of folks that can be a little bit hard on each other, but with the best intention. We want each other to succeed. So instead of comparing ourselves to each other and being frustrated that somebody else is doing a little bit better, let's support them for doing really well. And you're kicking booty as well. So you deserve that success as well. So let's do this. Let's kick butt together. Let's become healthier. If we get thinner in the meantime, great. But let's focus on getting healthier. I got off a crap ton of medicine. I don't take any medicine anymore. So excited. I'm not in therapy anymore. My friend tells me that I should be, but she's also been in therapy probably more years than she hasn't been. So we have different opinions about therapy. But right now, I am probably in the best place that I have ever been. And I am 18 months out, 19 months out of surgery. Um, so still fairly new. I've dropped a crap ton of weight. I truly am half the size that I was. I still have a ways to go. But right now, I am truly in the best physical place that I've ever been. And quite honestly, I'm in the best mental place that I have ever been. Even when I was thin, even when I was tiny. Now, I've never been tiny. I'm an oak. I'm not a willow. But even when I was not overweight, I was still kind of a miserable being. I'm honestly in the best place that I've been. And I want that for you guys too. Swear words, corny jokes, I want it all. And I want you guys to have the same thing. So join me for my next video. And what am I going to talk about? Fuck if I know. I have no idea. But it'll be fun. We'll have a good time. It'll be about weight loss surgery. If you have a specific thing that you would like to talk about or know about, just drop it in the comments and we'll talk about it. I think that's a great place to start. Um, I'll end up sharing about my loose skin. And folks, oftentimes I'm going to say ladies, but men, welcome too. There's some loose skin that I didn't even think about. Did I lose my boobs? Yeah. And I didn't even have big boobs to begin with. I could almost tuck them into my pants right now. It's that bad. I look older. When I was chunky, I looked so much younger. And now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, my face was round. I looked younger. I have lost a lot of weight, but I've also gained a few years in age on my face. And I'm 100% okay with it. It took me a hot minute, but I'm 100% okay with it. Folks, I lost my hair. I lost a crap ton of hair. I'm struggling with that. That is a struggle of mine right now. The physical part, my flabby arms, I don't care. My hair though is giving me a little bit of a little bit of grief. I do have a hairdresser that I absolutely adore. His name is Zach. And he told me, he goes, Tammy, you've got to lay off the hot iron on your hair. It's causing all the breakage. I was like, oh. I don't use a hot iron. You're just like, oh. So we'll talk about that. Um, I didn't take my bariatric vitamins for a long time because I thought, how important are they? Folks, they're 100% a must do. Do not stop taking your vitamins. Um, we'll talk about that as well. Those are a must do. Um, your calcium, all of the supplements that your doctor tells you you need, they are 100% true. They are 100% correct. You need those. My hair is a mess because I did not take what I was supposed to take. So that is the one thing that I've got to work on. Um, but I'm good with that. I've learned. I've ordered what I need to get, and I'll start taking those again. But those are the things that we can support each other with. Okay. So I guess I'll let you go. I've chattered enough. Um, so join me for my next one. Drop a line. Let me know what has worked really well for you. Let me know if you've not had surgery. Let me know what you're thinking about. Let me know what your biggest fear is. If you've had surgery, let me know what your biggest success is and what your biggest struggle is. And we'll just start a list and we'll start going down the list and we'll see what we can get through. Okay? Great. So glad to be here. So glad that you're here. Let's chat again. Let's see each other next week. Sound like a deal? It's a date. All right.